Haven 9's outer ring shuddered as emergency bulkheads fought to seal ruptured corridors. Smoke trailed through the fractured dome, pulled toward the vacuum tearing at the station's spine. The lights flickered in feverish pulses, revealing the chaos beneath: overturned diplomats' tables, shattered glass, and bodies carried away by escaping air. Elder Taven limped across the main concourse, clutching a stabilizer rod as the floor jolted. A wave of static hissed through the comm lines embedded in the walls, followed by the metallic screech of systems folding under a hostile takeover. The digital plague had eaten half their infrastructure within minutes. "Seal the eastern wing!" Taven shouted over the roar of collapsing support beams. "We can't," an aide called back. "The control relays are rewriting themselves. The AI core is corrupted." Another blast rocked the concourse. The ceiling cracked, raining shards of composite alloy. Taven steadied himself and glanced toward the center dais where the emergency beacon rested inside a shielded emitter cradle. Its activation switches glowed a nervous amber, awaiting a final confirmation. 6 surviving council delegates huddled around it. Their expressions carried the same fear Taven felt, fear not of death, but of what would come if they called the wrong rescuers. "We should activate it," Councillor Schell murmured, trembling. "If we don't, Haven 9 dies within the hour." "And who answers?" snapped Minister Roll, eyes wide. "Every species aligned with this beacon is peaceful. None of them have fleets. None can fight this." He lowered his voice. "But you know who will hear it." Silence swept the dais. The unspoken truth pressed against them like gravity. The Terrans monitored every emergency frequency, even those intended for pacifistic confederacies. No one understood how. No one dared ask. Taven forced himself to breathe evenly. "We have no options." Roll's frills flattened. "You would rather risk them? Deathworlders do not come to rescue. They come to end things. If they wanted us dead," Taven said, "they wouldn't wait for a beacon." Another quake tore through the station. A scream echoed from a distant corridor, cut short by a sudden hiss of decompressing air. Taven stepped toward the dais. "Send the call." Schell's hands shook as she pressed the authorization imprint. The beacon stuttered, then projected a narrowband transmission into the void, carrying Haven 9's coordinates, threat level, and last plea. A cold dread settled over the counselors as the message left the station. All they could do now was hope it reached someone merciful. 14 light minutes away, aboard the Terran vessel Ironwind, Captain Rhea Voss watched a constellation of blue tactical glyphs drift across the holotable. Her gauntlet fingers traced a path through the projections, reshaping the overlays with practiced motions. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Hale, leaned against the railing behind her. The encrypted ping just spiked again. "Same civilian distress protocol, but the modulation is fractured." Rhea lifted her gaze. "Civilian station?" "Diplomatic station," Hale corrected. "Haven 9. A quiet stir rolled through the bridge crew. Even the Ironwind's hum seemed to lower in pitch. Rhea expanded the beacon file. The emergency broadcast played in raw form, garbled voices behind static, the unmistakable rumble of structural collapse, then a sharp cutoff. "Severity?" she asked. "Total infrastructure compromise," Hale said. "Their call was meant for pacifistic allies. But their encryption was sloppily forced into our detection spectrum." "Meaning?" Rhea asked. "It wasn't an accident," Hale replied. "Someone made sure we'd hear them." Rhea straightened. Her pulse quickened, not with fear, but with the weight of a decision only she could make. Humanity's reputation as Deathworlders clung to them across the galaxy, shaping every diplomatic exchange, every first contact. They were resilient, aggressive, and born of hostile worlds. To aliens, Terrans were myths, nightmares that walked. And now those myths were Haven 9's only hope. Hale stepped closer. "Captain, we can ignore the beacon. It wasn't meant for us." Rhea shook her head. "It was meant for someone, and they're dying." She closed the beacon file. "Plot FTL course to Haven 9. Full insertion burn. Notify the Legion squads." Hale hesitated only a moment. "Aye, Captain." As he moved to relay the orders, Rhea studied the frozen fragment of Haven 9's collapsing concourse still hovering above the holotable. She saw terrified faces, smoke, sparks, fragments of home torn apart by forces they didn't understand. She remembered another mission, one she hadn't reached in time. Not again. The iron wind shuddered gently as its engines primed. The starfield outside the viewport stretched into thin white filaments before collapsing into blue hyperlight. The transition back into real space snapped like a whip. The iron wind emerged above Haven 9's outer orbit, its hull catching the scattered glow of drifting debris. The station hung like a wounded animal, venting atmosphere, half-dark, crawling with corrupted energy signatures. Jesus! Hale breathed. They're worse than the transmission indicated. Rhea strode toward the viewport. Scan for life signs. Reading clusters in the primary concourse. Sensor Officer Mayan replied. Motion is frantic. They're running from something. Enemy forces on grid? Not ships, Mayan said. Something inside the station. Automated signatures. Plague contamination patterns. Rhea's jaw tightened. They've weaponized a logic plague inside a diplomatic outpost. Hale's eyes narrowed. Who does that? Rhea answered without hesitation. Someone who wanted us here. The bridge fell silent. She turned to Hale. Prep boarding teams. Load full counter-plague firewalls. Route the heavy exoshells to Bay 3. We go in hard, sweep corridors, extract survivors. Hale nodded. Yes, Captain. As he left, Rhea activated her comm. Bridge to Legion units. Suit up. Final checks in 10. She headed to the armory, boots echoing along the metallic walkway. The corridors filled with the sharp scent of polymer plating and ozone, the low thrum of electromagnetic seals forming around exoframe joints. Soldiers snapped into harnesses, their armor adjusting to their breathing rhythms. Rhea donned her command exoshell, sleeker than standard suits, designed for mobility. The helmet sealed with a soft click, HUD flaring to life. Captain, Hale said, joining her. Your team's locked in. Rhea gripped the magline attached to the drop hatch. Then let's move. The hatch cycled open. Air hissed around them as the boarding pods extended toward Haven 9's breached docking ring. Rhea looked at her squad, faces unreadable behind armor, but posture steady. Objective is rescue, she said. Defensive force only. Anyone who shoots first answers to me. A chorus of acknowledgments echoed in the calm. The boarding clamps locked with a heavy thunk. The hatch split. On the other side lay darkness, flickering lights, and the metallic stench of a station fighting its own systems. Rhea stepped through first. Let's bring them home. And Haven 9, trembling under the weight of the plague, whispered back through the groaning metal. Someone had been waiting for the humans to arrive. The docking ring groaned under the weight of the Ironwind's boarding clamps. Captain Rhea Voss stepped into Haven 9's breach with the slow, deliberate sweep of someone who had learned long ago that caution was its own armor. Her boots sank into scattered debris, shredded floor panels, conduit coils, scorch marks that still glowed faintly. Atmosphere unstable, Lieutenant Hale reported. Localized air pockets only. Helmets sealed. A thin mist drifted along the corridor, swirling like fog caught in a broken wind tunnel. The station lights flickered in erratic bursts, throwing long shadows that lurched across the walls. Thermal readings? Rhea asked. Multiple signatures ahead, Hale replied. Clustered. Station inhabitants or something hunting them. Rhea motioned forward. Stay tight. The squad advanced through the corridor, their armor-mounted lamps cutting through thick darkness. The walls carried deep gouges, curved claw-like markings, but mechanical. Not natural. Plague constructs, Hale murmured, tracing one with his gauntlet. They're learning shapes now. That's not comforting, one of the troopers muttered. Rhea didn't slow. Focus. A faint sound drifted from deeper inside, scuffling, then a muffled cry. Rhea raised a fist. The squad froze. She adjusted her helmet filters, listening. Something small darted behind a fractured console. Rhea angled her weapon low and advanced with careful steps. When she crouched, two luminous purple eyes stared back from the shadows. A juvenile Zalari, thin frame, translucent skin, quill-like frills trembling with fear. Rhea dimmed her lamp and set her weapon down, palms open. "It's all right. We're here to help." The youth recoiled, pressing against the debris as though trying to merge into it. A soft clicking sound escaped their throat, panic, escalating fast. Hale whispered, "They think we're monsters." Rhea removed her helmet. The cool air stung her face, but she ignored it. She lowered herself to match the youth's eye level. "I know my kind frightens you," she said gently. "But if we meant harm, we wouldn't be talking." The Zalari's frills quivered. Their voice came out in a trembling whisper. "You," answered the beacon. "Yes," Rhea said. "We came for you." The youth hesitated, studying her expression. Finally, they scrambled forward and clutched her arm with trembling fingers. "My name is Kirax," they whispered. "The others, many, are hiding. The station turned against us." Rhea nodded and resealed her helmet. "Then take us to them." Kirax led them down a curved corridor where once polished walls now resembled a battlefield. Fires smoldered behind sealed doors, their heat warping nearby bulkheads. An emergency announcement stuttered over the calm lines, half words corrupted by the plague, repeating commands that contradicted themselves. "Unauthorized personnel detected. Evacuate, purge, contain." The voice looped until it broke into static. "Station's AI is toast," Hale muttered. "This plague is thorough." Kirax glanced nervously at the speakers overhead. "It attacks everything. Doors, machines, medical systems, everything. The architect sent it." At the name, Rhea's stride slowed. "You know who's behind this?" Kirax shivered. "We heard rumors. Mathematics scribbled in the walls. Voice distortions. Messages in the lights. He called himself Veil Architect. Said we were necessary." Rhea exchanged a look with Hale. "He wanted witnesses," she murmured. They moved deeper, reaching a wide junction where smoke curled through shattered window panes. A maintenance drone lay on the floor, its frame twisted unnaturally. Its limbs were fused together, melted by internal sabotage. Rhea crouched beside it. "Hale, check the core." Hale knelt, pried open a scorched panel, and whistled. "Plague signature is advanced. This isn't just corruption. It's rewriting directives in real time. And not randomly. Purposeful." "Purposeful how?" Rhea asked. Hale looked up. "It's coordinating station lockdowns. Trapping survivors. Hurting them." Kirax flinched. "It pushed us toward the central concourse. Like it wanted us grouped." Rhea's mind sharpened instantly. "A kill zone." They moved quickly after that. The doors to the primary concourse were half sealed, held shut by emergency clamps. Rhea's squad forced the panels apart with hydraulic grips. When they stepped through, the smell of burnt wiring and ionized air washed over them. The concourse had once served as Haven 9's cultural heart: open walkways, colorful displays, communal gardens. Now, the ceiling had collapsed in places, showering debris across the floor. Holographic projectors flickered with corrupted images, shifting between welcome messages and violent glitches. At the far end, a small group of aliens huddled behind overturned kiosks. Their skin patterns shifted anxiously as Kirax called out, "Elder Taven! They came!" The elder rose slowly, leaning on a cracked support beam. His eyes widened at the sight of Rhea's armored squad. You really answered. "We heard your beacon," Rhea said. "We're here to get you out." A murmur rippled through the survivors, fear, disbelief, desperate relief tangled together. Taven stepped forward. "We did not expect your kind. Our allies rarely respond quickly, but Deathworlders." He paused, searching Rhea's visor for something. "You came without hesitation." Rhea didn't correct him. She simply asked, "How many survivors?" 37, Taven said. "But we don't know if all are alive. The Architect's machines patrol the lower decks." Hale checked his wrist pad. Captain, plague packets moving toward our position. Multiple signatures. Rhea took command instantly. Defensive perimeter. Get survivors behind us. Troopers shifted into position just as the concourse lights dimmed. The air filled with a low metallic screech, like metal claws dragging along the ceiling. Red lines crawled across the walls, glowing faintly as if veins beneath synthetic skin. And then the constructs arrived. Spindly forms emerged from ventilation shafts, limb-jointed machines with shifting plates and flickering sensors. Their movements were stuttering but unnervingly intelligent. One construct scanned the survivors and emitted a harsh tone. Rhea raised her weapon. Engage. Her squad unleashed controlled fire, ion pulses slicing through mechanical limbs. Sparks burst across the concourse as constructs collapsed into smoking heaps. But the plague rewrote them even as they fell. Damaged units spasmed, reconfiguring, crawling forward. Adaptive regeneration, Hale warned. Rhea surged ahead, planting a magnetic charge on a charging construct. Back out, she called. The charge detonated, ripping the machine apart before it could reform. The concourse fell silent at last, smoke drifting across the fractured floor. Taven stared at the wreckage. You fight like storms given shape. We fight to protect, Rhea said, scanning for more threats. But these constructs weren't here for you. They were here to stall us. Kirox's voice trembled. Why? A voice crackled through the concourse speakers, smooth, calm, terrifyingly controlled. To test you, Captain Voss. Rhea tensed. Hale's eyes widened. The voice continued. Haven 9 was not chosen for its value, but for its visibility. Your response was predictable. Your compassion even more so. Rhea stared up at the nearest speaker. Veil Architect. Yes, the voice said softly. And now that you are here, the second stage begins. The lights snapped off. The doors slammed shut. And Haven 9's systems roared to life, no longer defending the station, but hunting its rescuers. The shuttle cut through the frigid atmosphere of Ira 9 like a silver needle pushing into a bruise of storm clouds. Leon braced himself as turbulence rocked the cabin. Frost raced across the windows before the heaters fought it back, revealing the endless white expanse stretching toward a horizon blurred by snow. Ira 9. A frozen moon no one cared about until last week, until the distress beacon pulsed through deep space channels carrying a code older than humanity's unified government. Sarah flicked a switch, steadying the descent. Beacon still transmitting from the glacier field. Same coordinates. Same pattern. Leon studied the projection on his wrist display. The waveform looped endlessly, sharp, rhythmic pulses in a sequence eerily close to a language. It's accelerating, he murmured. Almost like it knows we're coming. Tarek snorted. Don't start with the spooky talk. It's ice. It clicks. It cracks. That's what ice does. It's not the ice, Leon said. It's too precise. Sarah glanced over. Whatever it is, we find it, catalog it, and get out. Command wants answers before anyone else picks up the signal. Leon didn't respond. He'd seen the encrypted packet attached to the beacon, the one he wasn't supposed to see. A signature buried in its metadata. Axiom Protocol, active. That protocol hadn't been used in centuries. Because it wasn't human. The shuttle touched down on a plateau of blue-white ice. Snow whipped against the hull, howling as if warning them away. The moment the hatch opened, the wind punched in with a force that stole Leon's breath. His visor display flickered under the strain of the cold. Tarek thumped him on the shoulder. Breathe, Professor. It's just weather trying to kill us. Nothing new. Leon managed a faint smile and stepped out. The beacon's signal grew stronger as they walked across the ice field. Their boots cracked thin sheets of surface frost, revealing shadows moving far beneath, water or something else shifting in the darkness below. Sarah knelt, setting the scanner on the ground. Its lights danced across the ice, analyzing density patterns. There's a cavity under us, she said. Nearly 100 meters deep. Something's carved a hollow space down there. It's not natural. Tarek groaned. Of course it isn't. Why would anything on this mission be easy? Leon crouched beside the scanner. The signal's coming from the bottom of that cavity. So? Tarek raised a brow. We drill? Before Leon could answer, the ice trembled. It started as a faint vibration, barely noticeable. Then a deep rumble surged through the ground, rippling outward. Cracks spiderwebbed beneath their feet, glowing faintly with a pale blue light. Sarah's eyes widened behind her visor. Back to the shuttle! But before they reached it, the ice gave way. The ground swallowed them in a whirl of shattered frost and blinding light. Leon felt weightlessness, then the jarring impact of hitting a slope. He slid down smooth, curved ice like a child on a slide from hell, the walls glowing brighter the farther he fell. Finally, he crashed onto a flat surface, skidding across it until he slammed into a pillar of frozen crystal. Pain shot through his ribs. He groaned, trying to push himself up. Sarah? Tarek? A moment passed before voices echoed from different directions. I'm here! Sarah called. Alive! Tarek grunted. Nothing broken. Except maybe my dignity. As their helmet lights cut through the gloom, the chamber revealed itself, an enormous cavern carved into perfect geometric patterns, triangles, spirals, intersecting lines. Like architecture, but shaped from ice with inhuman precision. Sarah turned slowly. Who could build something like this? Leon didn't answer. He was staring at the colossal object embedded in the center of the chamber, an obsidian structure, smooth and curved like a buried crescent. A faint hum emanated from its surface, matching the beacon's frequency. Tarek whistled. Well, that's not a rock. Leon approached cautiously. The structure's surface rippled faintly, as if reacting to their presence. This is a vessel, he said softly. An ancient one. Sarah's voice dropped. Pre-human? Possibly. He reached out a gloved hand. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, light flared. The crescent ignited with patterns, thousands of symbols racing across its skin like liquid fire. Leon stumbled back, shielding his eyes. A deep tone vibrated the chamber. A voice, mechanical, layered, and alien, filled the air. Axiom custodians, identity required. Tarek froze. Leon, tell me that's just your translator glitching. Leon checked his visor. All systems normal. It's speaking. Not a glitch. Sarah lifted her rifle slightly. Custodian? That word sounds intentional. Leon swallowed. Axiom Protocol was an old designation for ancient constructs discovered during humanity's earliest expansion. We never found one intact. Until now. The voice spoke again, louder. Custodians. Confirm identity. The symbols shifted, forming a ring of light that hovered above the vessel like an eye waiting to judge them. Tarek muttered. What if we don't? Leon stepped forward. We might not have a choice. Sarah placed a hand on his arm. Leon, wait. But the ring of light expanded suddenly, enveloping all three of them. Leon felt heat and cold simultaneously, like his thoughts were being pulled apart and examined. He gasped as memories, his childhood, his training, every decision he made, flashed across his vision. Then came silence, followed by a final verdict. Unauthorized. Custodian lineage absent. The vessel pulsed once. Twice. And something began to awaken beneath its surface, shadows shifting like limbs stretching after centuries of sleep. Sarah took a step back. Leon, what is it doing? He didn't answer. He couldn't. He recognized the activation pattern from old research archives, diagrams he had dismissed as impossible. It's not just a ship, he whispered. It's a sentinel. Tarek readied his rifle. A sentinel for what? Leon stared at the vessel as the ice around it cracked and steam hissed outward. For whatever it was designed to guard, he said. And whatever it was meant to stop. The floor trembled as the sentinel fully woke, the hum rising to a terrifying resonance. A new voice echoed, This one clearer, more focused. Invasion threat detected. Initiating defensive protocol. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Invasion? From who? Leon's blood ran cold as the realization hit him. It didn't mean them. It meant something coming here. From above. He looked toward the distant ceiling of ice far overhead, toward the storm-shrouded sky they'd descended from barely an hour ago. A distant tremor answered. Not from the moon. From orbit. Leon exhaled shakily. Something else heard the beacon. Tarek whispered. And it's not friendly, is it? Leon shook his head. Not even close. The ice chamber vibrated with a low, rising frequency, so deep it pressed against the ribs like a physical weight. Frost shook loose from the ceiling in soft white plumes. Leon steadied himself against a crystalline pillar as the Sentinel's crescent structure lifted an inch off the ground, held aloft by forces he couldn't begin to calculate. Sarah scanned upward. Whatever's coming, it's big. No, Leon murmured. It's coordinated. Tarek slapped his visor display. I vote we run. Up. Now. Before this entire ice pit becomes a war zone. Leon's gaze lingered on the Sentinel. Its surface patterns shifted into a spiraling constellation he recognized. Not from human databases, but from the encrypted fragment in the beacon's metadata. A warning. Sarah's voice cut in, sharp. Leon. We need a plan. He forced himself to look away from the ancient vessel. The Sentinel is activating a defense grid. But we're standing inside its housing chamber. If it triggers a full launch sequence, we get atomized, Tarek finished. Right. So, plan? Before Leon could respond, a deafening crack echoed overhead. Light speared through a newly formed fissure in the cavern ceiling, sunlight mixed with fire. Sarah's eyes widened. That wasn't nature. No, Leon said. That was orbital entry. Another impact. The ice ceiling spiderwebbed with fractures. The Sentinel pulsed once, and the chamber instantly responded. Ice walls peeled apart, shifting like massive sliding doors. Pathways lit up with faint blue lines guiding toward a corridor. It's opening an exit, Sarah said. Or funneling us, Tarek muttered. Leon didn't argue. They didn't have time. Move, he said. They followed the glowing paths through the corridor, a long, sloped tunnel carved with impossible precision. The glowing veins in the ice intensified, forming symbols similar to the ones on the Sentinel's hull. They pulsed in perfect rhythm with the beacon's beat. Tarek, Sarah said, glancing at him. Any chance these symbols are directions? Directions to what? He shot back. Gift shop? But Leon slowed enough to touch a glowing symbol with his glove. A cluster of symbols rearranged instantly, displaying a three-dimensional map in the air, a projection made of refracted light. Sarah's jaw tightened. It knows we're here. Leon nodded. And it wants us to see this. The projection showed Ira 9's surface, and above it, a dark shape descending through the atmosphere. Arrowhead-shaped, massive, leaving a trail of fire behind it. Tarek stared. That is not a human ship. No, Leon said quietly. It's not. The map zoomed in until the shape became a silhouette with a serrated belly, hundreds of spines like teeth. Predatory. Designed to pierce, anchor, and harvest. Sarah stiffened. What are they after? Leon looked back toward the chamber where the Sentinel still hummed. Not us. The Sentinel. They followed the beacon. So this is a competition. Tarek muttered, gripping his rifle. And we're caught in the middle. The tunnel opened into a broad platform, a cliff face overlooking a vast subterranean lake. At its center, a column of ice rose like a tower, connecting all the way to the ceiling. Lines of faint blue light ran along it like veins. And at the top, embedded in the ice, was another crescent-shaped structure, smaller than the Sentinel, but clearly linked. Sarah frowned. What is that? Leon's breath fogged his visor. The control relay. Probably the interface for the Sentinel. How do you know? Tarek asked. Pattern consistency, Leon said automatically, not taking his eyes off it. Extrusion symmetry. The energy signature. Tarek waved his hands. Okay, nerd magic. Got it. But before Leon could step toward the relay, the platform trembled violently. The lake's surface erupted into waves as chunks of ice rained down. A piercing screech echoed through the cavern, metallic, rising, mechanical. Sarah peered upward. Contact incoming! Something slammed through the ceiling, tearing open a ragged crater. Snow and burning debris cascaded down around them. Then the creature-machine hybrid dropped through the hole, angular limbs like spears, its body a blend of metal plates and organic tissue. Its head rotated with a grinding sound, focusing two burning red lenses on the three humans. Tarek lifted his rifle. Hostile? It's not bowing or waving, Sarah said. So yes. The creature scanned the room. When its gaze locked onto the distant sentinel chamber behind them, it let out another shrill mechanical screech and leaped forward. Straight toward the relay. Leon's instincts kicked in. It wants to disable the sentinel before it wakes fully. Then we stop it, Sarah said. Tarek laughed without humor. Great! Let's fight an alien blender. The creature landed on the platform, fracturing the ice beneath its limbs. Its spines unfolded, charging with a faint red glow. Before it could fire, Sarah launched herself forward, sliding across the ice and firing controlled bursts at its joints. The creature staggered back with a metallic hiss. Tarek rushed in from the right, firing at its sensory cluster. Hey! Over here, murder toaster! His shots ricocheted, but one found a soft seam. The creature shrieked. Leon, heart pounding, ran past the fight toward the relay tower. Leon! Sarah yelled. Where are you going? To start the sentinel, he called back. You can't activate alien tech. I'm open to alternatives. Sarah shot down another limb just as it tried to impale Tarek. Leon reached the base of the relay. Its surface reacted instantly, symbols glowing brighter. His visor crackled as the structure scanned him. Recognition insufficient. Override required. Command phrase needed. Leon exhaled. I don't have a command phrase. Behind him, Tarek screamed. Make one up! Leon placed both hands on the relay. Come on. You recognized us enough to show the map. Don't pretend you can't hear me. The relay pulsed weakly. The ice beneath Leon's feet cracked from vibrations of the ongoing battle. He closed his eyes. Sentinel! He yelled. The threat is here. If you don't respond, this moon is lost, maybe the system after that. Nothing. A moment passed. Then, a soft chime. Override accepted. Defensive protocol accelerating. The entire cavern shook. The distant sentinel roared to life, unfurling like a mechanical flower awakening from 1,000-year slumber. Sarah dragged Tarek back as the creature reoriented itself, fury burning in its red lenses. Leon, whatever you did, do it again! The sentinel rose from its chamber with a surge of light. Energy rippled through the cavern like a shockwave. The creature screamed and leaped directly at Leon. The sentinel fired a beam of pure, white energy. It struck the creature midair, freezing it instantly into a sculpture of crackling frost before shattering it into 1,000 glittering shards. Silence followed. Sarah staggered to Leon's side. You actually did it. Tarek collapsed beside them. Good. Because I was out of ammo and nearly out of courage. Leon stared up at the sentinel, now floating at full height, its surface glowing like a star reborn. No, he said softly. This is only the beginning. Because something else stirred in the beam of distant sunlight pouring through the crater above. Not one ship. Dozens. Descending.